The air hung thick and heavy, a noxious cocktail of sweat, blood, and cheap booze. The roar of the crowd, a hungry beast demanding violence, reverberated off the bare concrete walls. This wasn't some glorious arena with flashing lights and screaming fans. This was the underbelly, a grimy, bare-bones fight club hidden beneath a dilapidated warehouse on the edge of the city. It was here, in this cage forged from desperation and steel, that Jake the Fury Sullivan sought his absolution. Jake, as Jake the Fury Sullivan. This isn't just a fight, it's a reckoning. The cage stood in the center, illuminated by a single, flickering spotlight. It was a brutal stage for a brutal sport, the metal bars cold and unforgiving. Each clang of the cage door, each drop of blood spilled on the canvas echoed the brutal symphony of Jake's past. He could almost taste the metallic tang of his own blood, a constant reminder of his fall from grace. Jake cracked his knuckles, the sound sharp in the tense silence before the fight. His opponent, a hulking brute with a shaved head and a permanent scowl, paced the cage like a caged animal. Fear was a foreign language to Jake, replaced by a cold, steely resolve. This fight was about more than just winning. It was about reclaiming his honor piece by bloody piece. As the announcer bellowed his name, a surge of adrenaline coursed through Jake's veins. The crowd erupted, a cacophony of cheers and jeers washing over him. But Jake was oblivious to the noise. He was locked on his target, his eyes burning with a fierce intensity. This was his redemption song, and he was determined to make it heard. 3 years ago, Jake the Fury Sullivan was at the pinnacle of the MMA world. He was a champion, his name synonymous with power, precision, and an unyielding spirit. He had it all: fame, fortune, and the adoration of millions. But like Icarus, he flew too close to the sun, and his wings of hubris were melted by the flames of his own arrogance. Jake, as Jake the Fury Sullivan, I had it all, and then I lost everything. The scandal that shattered his world was splashed across every newspaper and website. A drunken brawl, a misplaced punch, a life forever altered, accusations of assault, whispers of disgrace, and the cold reality of a prison sentence. He lost everything: his title, his sponsors, his reputation. The cheers turned to jeers, the adulation to scorn. Now, out of prison and stripped of his former glory, Jake was a shadow of his former self. He was haunted by the ghosts of his past, the memory of his fall, a constant weight on his soul. The hunger for redemption gnawed at him, a relentless beast demanding satisfaction. He found himself drawn to the underground fight scene, a brutal and unforgiving world where the only rules were survival and victory. It was a far cry from the glittering arenas and million-dollar paychecks of his past, but it was the only path he saw to redemption. This was his crucible, his chance to forge himself anew in the fires of pain and sacrifice. The man who ran the underground fight circuit was a figure shrouded in both fear and respect. Viktor the Butcher Kozlov, they called him. A former wrestler from the Red Bear Republic, he was a mountain of a man with hands that could crush a skull like a grape. His eyes, cold and calculating, missed nothing, and his reputation for ruthlessness preceded him like a chilling wind. Viktor, as Viktor the Butcher Kozlov, I see potential in you, Fury. Raw fury that needs to be unleashed. Kozlov saw the potential in Jake, the raw fury that simmered beneath his surface. He offered Jake a deal, a chance to fight in his underground tournament, the Butcher's Bowl. The prize, a hefty sum of cash, and a chance to regain the glory that was stolen from him. But the price of entry was steep: blood, sweat, and the very real risk of permanent injury or worse. Jake knew the risks involved. He had heard the whispers about Kozlov's tournament, about the brutality of the fights, the lack of rules, the rumors of fighters disappearing without a trace. But the lure of redemption was too strong to resist. He was tired of running from his past, tired of the whispers and the judgment. He craved the cathartic release of violence, the chance to prove himself once more. He met Kozlov in his dimly lit office, the walls adorned with framed pictures of past champions, their eyes vacant and haunted. Kozlov's gaze was intense, piercing through Jake's facade and seeing the desperation that lurked beneath. A sardonic smile played on Kozlov's lips as he extended a hand, his grip like a vice. Viktor, as Viktor the Butcher Kozlov. Welcome to the jungle, Fury. Let's see if you have the stomach for it. The Butcher's Bowl was a grueling gauntlet of broken bones and shattered dreams. Each fight was a test of endurance, a brutal ballet of fists and feet. Jake fought like a man possessed, his anger fueling his every move. He tore through his opponents, each victory a step closer to his goal, each scar a badge of honor. Jake, as Jake the Fury Sullivan, every hit, every scar, it's one step closer to reclaiming what I lost. He faced off against street brawlers with something to prove, ex-military men hardened by war, and desperate souls clinging to the fringes of society. Each opponent brought their own style, their own brand of violence, but Jake met them all with the same ferocity, the same unwavering determination. The crowd, initially skeptical of the fallen champion, began to warm up to his raw aggression, his never-say-die attitude. They chanted his name, their cheers a guttural roar that echoed through the arena. With each victory, Jake felt a flicker of the old fire ignite within him, a spark of hope in the darkness that threatened to consume him. But the deeper Jake delved into the tournament, the more he realized that the world of underground fighting was a treacherous one. He saw the desperation in the eyes of his opponents, the way they clung to the hope of a win, of a way out. He saw the casual brutality of the organizers, the way they treated the fighters like commodities, disposable pawns in their game of blood and money. Jake's quest for redemption was becoming a descent into a heart of darkness, and he wasn't sure if he would emerge from it unscathed.